morning and welcome to the Pacific Ocean. We're out here early in the morning, beautiful sunrise, and we are on the National Geographic Resolution, part of our fleet that's in the Pacific. Our sister ship Orion spends a lot of time on this ocean. My name is Jennifer Kingsley. I'm a writer, I'm a guide, I'm a cultural specialist here with Lindblad Expeditions, and I'm here today with Tua Pittman.
Hey, good morning, Jenny.
Good morning.
Morning. What a brilliant morning. It's great to be out here on the Resolution, the National Geographic Resolution. You know, the sun's coming up, Venus is up there, Jupiter's behind us. We're heading in the right direction. The sea is absolutely beautiful. I'm a cultural navigator on board. Obviously, you can tell I'm all excited about the conditions outside. This is what exploration and expedition is all about. And yeah, looks like it's going to be a great day.
So Tua has a lot of experience on the ocean as a navigator. So can you explain a little bit what that means to be a navigator, not just a cultural navigator, but a master navigator in your tradition as a Pacific Islander?
Yeah, well, in the Pacific, and the Pacific is probably the biggest area on this whole planet. A lot of people and a lot of folks out there, they look at the Pacific Islands and say, well, small island states. Well, as far as the Pacific Island people are concerned, we're a big ocean group of islands. It's not about the little island that we live on, but it's about this ocean that connects us all together. So it ranges from the shorelines of America to the shorelines of Asia and everything in there. So it excites me to be able to come out here and share all of that culture with a lot of people.
And you're from the Cook Islands, so in terms of if we think of the Pacific Ocean as its own nation, you're kind of from the middle of that nation.
That's right. The heart of the Pacific is these South Sea Islands, and that's where I'm from. I'm from the Cook Islands.
And can you tell me a little bit how you came to visit all of these different places, the canoes and the boats that you've been traveling on?
Yeah, for the majority of my time I've spent at sea. If it's not on a traditional replica of a voyaging canoe, it's on National Geographic ships. And it's taken me to many, many places out here on this ocean. Spent a lot of time in Indonesia, a lot of time in the Pacific, and of course, going to the top of the globe and to the bottom of the globe.
So right now we're in Micronesia, a place we don't visit that often, but we do have places in the Pacific that we go to a lot. And particularly next year, we've got a lot of trips on our sister ship Orion going over to Indonesia. So from your perspective, when did you start visiting Indonesia, and how is that connected to who you are as a Pacific Islander?
Indonesia, my voyages to that part of the world probably happened around 10 years ago, maybe even more. Touching on a lot of the shorelines in that region, and it's inspired me to keep going back there, because when you get there, there's the natural aspect of those places, there's the cultural aspect in terms of the people, their dances, and how they greet us when we approach those places, and it's been a real highlight of my career, really.
So if we think of the Pacific Ocean, we've talked about America way over on one side, Cook Islands where you're from, kind of in the heart of the Pacific, and then coming further to the west, we get into this area called the Coral Triangle. And the Coral Triangle is essentially Philippines in the north, and then it encompasses Indonesia, Malaysia, over to the Solomon Islands in the east. And that part of the ocean, if we think about the undersea, is considered the most biodiverse region in the world underwater. So the most marine biodiverse region in the world. I know that your experience as a navigator has been on top of the ocean, like sailing between all these islands and meeting all of these different communities. What did you think when you first got in the water?
Well, exactly. I mean, my whole life has been about pulling islands out of the ocean, and then when you actually get in the ocean and see what's down below there, that Raja Ampat, the coral gardens, that area is just unbelievable. the growth, the colors, the vibrant animal life down there.
And I guess, for me coming to this region for the first time a few years ago, there's all of what we see at the surface, and then you only start to realize like how that whole ecosystem works when you get under the surface and you have a chance to swim around the reefs. On this voyage, we were in Bunaken National Park, which is in Indonesia. And we've had scientists on board as well that have been teaching us about the diversity, not only under the sea, but the marine mammals that we can sometimes spot as we cross these expanses, over days on these longer voyages. But you've been an ambassador for these areas, an ambassador from the Cook Islands, an ambassador as a navigator. Can you talk a little bit about the community aspect and sort of what it's like to visit these communities when we arrive by ship?
Yeah, it's when you walk onto the shore and you hear the music playing, the drum, whether it be drums, trumpets, flutes, guitars, ukuleles, it's the look on our guests' faces when they get on those beaches. But you look at the faces of the people on the beach. They're just as enthusiastic. They're just as joyous as our guests, and it's just the combining of two different cultures. They're there to show their culture. Our people are there wanting to learn more.
And I know there are some specific places that we visit because they're so iconic. Nan Madol, which is sort of a lost city of the Pacific, maybe not a very well-known spot, but equal to the pyramids, equal to the Great Wall of China in terms of its scope and its size. But, we also go to visit Borobudur Temple, which is the largest Buddhist temple in the world. I've not been there, but maybe you can share a little bit about that.
Yeah, the intrigue and the mystique of the places that we go to is something that really stands out. Not very many people understand what yesterday was about.
Huh, okay.
Because some of these temples have been put together. We go to very, very special places and you sit there and you go, how could these people have put together monuments like this? Mm-hmm. And why are they still standing 500 years later? How did they come up with this architectural knowledge and the science in that day to be able to put these things together? It's for me, it's so mind-boggling. You sit down and you look at the Moai of Easter Island and Borobudur, as you said, and then Taputapuatea in Raiatea, the most spiritual, sacred ground of all of Polynesia, and it just brings to the fore how brilliant these people are, or were.
And often when we go to communities, of course, every one of our communities, cities, towns around the world is embedded in an ecosystem. So whether we're under the water, in a community, or in the surrounding forest, I definitely have to think about the visits we've had in the last couple of weeks to some places where we can see primates, specifically orangutans. That was my first time ever seeing orangutans. But that's been a really joyful experience as well, to see all of this kind of diverse wildlife, and certainly for me, many creatures that I would never see anywhere else. You've been able to visit those spots as well, I think. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, the sun bear, the orangutans, the proboscis monkeys, all of these are part of life, part of the animal world, the animal kingdom that we never get to see. Right. And if we do want to see them, you have to hike miles and miles into the mountains to be able to see them. But here they are right before you, because communities have come together to open up these rehabilitation centers where they're able to bring back this life and bring back this the orangutans, and to see them in a natural habitat, even though it's a rehabilitation center, it's still in this open forest where they're able to forage, where they're able to hang off the trees and come out, and well, for us it's entertainment, for them it's their life.
Right. Now, Today at sunrise here in Micronesia, we're coming to you from the Resolution. But Tua and I have both worked a lot on the National Geographic Orion, which is the ship that we have more or less dedicated to the Pacific region. So that ship is dear to our hearts, I would say, in the Lindblad fleet. Lots of opportunity to be outside, lots of really community feel on that ship as well. And it's Orion that's going to be dedicated to the Pacific through 2024, including Indonesia, as we've been discussing, including the Solomons, including Vanuatu, including a lot of islands that are, I don't want to say impossible, but very difficult to get to without a ship. I know that's something that I really enjoy as somebody who reports on community initiatives and is very interested in personal stories and culture in different parts of the world. And having a ship is very handy for going and visiting all of these different places. So,
For me, I see the Orion as the sunshine ship. And it goes to places that nobody is able to get into because of the size of the ship. It's a nice ship, very luxurious. The crew are great, the staff are amazing, and the people we meet are just as encompassing as we are. And you know, it's the National Geographic Orion. She's a prize. She's beautiful. I'm not biased, but I love that ship. And you ever get a chance to get on there, come. She's a real gem.
And the sun has now broken the horizon, and we've had such beautiful weather these last days here out in the Pacific. Well, a place where you were born and raised, a place I've been coming to for the last 5 years or so, and feel very honored to be able to come and to come back. So thanks for joining us, and we're going to enjoy, looks like another calm day in the Pacific, and we'll be signing off from the Resolution. Thank you for being here.